Hey guys, my name is BJ Min from HowExpert.com, where we publish short how-to guides on unique topics by everyday experts. And today's interview is with our expert author. His name is Karl Gruber, and Karl Gruber has a fascinating story, guys. HowExpert strives to publish very unique topics, on unique niches or people who accomplish unique accomplishments. And myself and I connected through with Karl, and I connected through the internet, and we're trying to find out what's the most unique thing, one unique topics he can write a book for HowExpert. And he mentioned something that I'm being honest, like I've never heard anyone accomplish before. He's actually ran 52 marathons in 52 weeks, guys. 52 marathons in 52 weeks. So we decided he's going to write a book he just finished the book for HowExpert called 52 Marathons in 52 Weeks. And also he's a published author of several other books on Amazon as well, guys. His book is called The Jogger to Runner Book, a simple and easy plan to start running. It's already on Amazon. If you type Karl Gruber on Amazon, you can find it. He has another book related to personal development called The 3 Pillars, a simple 3-step process to manifest positive and permanent change in your life. He also shares with you his story. Okay, he has another book called Running for Their Lives, the story of how one man ran 52 marathons in 52 weeks to help cure leukemia. That's also on Amazon as well. His website is karlgruberlifecoach.com if you are interested in his coaching services. So also, guys, for those of you guys don't know, I was doing my research, and he's the 9th, listen guys, he's the 9th man in the world to accomplish 52 marathons in 52 weeks, okay? I don't know what to say. So thank you, Karl, for coming to this interview. Thank you and welcome.
Yeah, wow, BJ, I like you already, man. You do your homework. Awesome. Yeah.
Let me do a quick read of in his own words what this book is about. This guide he wrote for HowExpert is more of a how-to guide. Okay, so let me read it from his own words. Okay, this book, 52 Marathons in 52 Weeks: How to Run a Marathon Every Week for a Year, by Karl Gruber, is the definitive guide on how to go about preparing yourself to run one 26.2-mile race, a marathon, for 52 straight weeks. Gruber stands on a platform of integrity, of his expertise in writing about this topic, in that he himself, guys, successfully accomplished running 52 marathons in 52 weeks in 1996 to 1997. While it may seem that this topic represents a small niche of runners, the running of multiple marathons on a regular basis has seen massive growth and popularity in the past 20 years. So again, welcome. I just wanted to read that really quick. I should have done that before, but thank you for coming, Karl.
Well,
how you doing?
It's great that you did read that, simply because, it's been 20 years since I accomplished it. And I was the 9th guy in the world, as near as I can figure out. That research is a little fuzzy area, even with all the experts I have access to in the running community. But I'm pretty sure that. But really, since that time, there has been such an explosion of what we want to call ultra running in the world. People like Dean Karnazes, he's perhaps the most famous guy in the world for running long distances. A few years ago, he ran 50 marathons in 50 days. And then there's Chuck Engel of the world, actually from the same area I'm from, here in the Columbus, Ohio area. I know Chuck, and he's won a marathon in all 50 states and way beyond that. So it's exploded. People have finally realized that the limitations that they had in their mind about what can be accomplished with running. I mean, we're talking specifically about running. I mean, we can expand that to so many areas of our life, but in running, it's just like when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile back in the early 20th century, that that finally those barriers are in the mind come down, and it transfers to your body, and your body all of a sudden realizes, well, I can do that. And I really believed I could do it, and I had the cause of running for leukemia. I knew a little boy named Glenn Miller Jr. from Logan, Ohio, who had passed away from it. And I just got motivated, and I went off and did it for a whole year.
Now let's go back to that story, their initial story. Like, I want to know, I'm very fascinated about that. And right now you can see his website, Karl Gruber, lifecoach.com, if you want to learn more. Okay. And there was a video I noticed. There was a video here in this page. If you go to this page, guys, you can watch a video about his story. It was on the news as well. But let's go back to that story, like in the beginning, like, how did you even come up with the idea to run 52 miles? How did you meet this this boy, like this kid? Like, how did get us back to the main initial story that sparked it?
Well, the Leukemia Society of America has for a couple decades now had a charity marathon training group where healthy people train to run one marathon, and they raise money for leukemia research. And so I hooked up with them in 1994 to train for the Honolulu Marathon. And when you join Team in Training, they match you up with a leukemia patient, so you can understand what they're going through. Okay. And I met little Glenn Miller Jr. when he was 5 years old, and I ran and raised the money, and I went to Honolulu, of course, and fell in love with Hawaii. Eventually, I actually moved to Kona, Hawaii for a while, and did that. But so I had a home way out in the southeastern Ohio countryside in a place called Hideaway Hills, Ohio. It was beautiful countryside, and I'd go running every single day. And a wild and crazy professional disc jockey. I worked on the air at a radio station for a long time. And I just went out and ran every single day through the beautiful countryside. And one morning I was running, and mind you, for many years, I've been a disciple of what I call positive possibility power thinking. And that is based on, Norman Vincent Peale had the iconic book, The Power of Positive Thinking. That was just the base of it. And I expanded on it. One day I'm out running through the sunshine at sunrise in Hocking County, Ohio, and I'm thinking, wow, what can I do to make a difference in the world? I'm single, I'm healthy, I've got all this running ability, and I just came up with the idea that I'm going to run a marathon a week for a year. And I didn't even have anything to base that on. I didn't know anybody who had done it. I just got back, and I knew I could do it. I got back to my house and finished the run. I said, damn it, I'm going to do this. And I did.
Wow. So you met this kid, and you're running, and you had the idea, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, and that's a picture right there of little Glenn Miller Jr. From the video that I did with Fox News on it. But, yeah, that was it. I just got the idea, and I moved forward. And when you got a mission and a passion and the ability, I knocked down a lot of personal blockades and walls, and I accomplished it.
Let me ask you this. Did you know anybody in the world who did that at the time when you first started this back then?
No, at that time, I absolutely, I don't even know, I just.
There was no internet at the time,
No,
really.
No, the internet, yeah, the internet didn't really start popping up until the mid-90s. And no, I did not know anybody who had done it. And it's funny because during my year of running 52 marathons, and a year my friend Gordon Hartshorn from Grand Prairie, Texas, who was running 74 marathons in 74 weeks and became the 8th guy to do it. He told me, he was an experienced marathoner, and he told me that, in his words, I had a lot of chutzpah for thinking that I could do it, because I had only run 9 marathons total up in that time to that time. And so I like to say ignorance was bliss, because I had no idea what I was getting into, Yeah, but 1,364.4 miles, I believe, later, I finished it.
Wow. So let's get into a little bit of specifics. Like, how do you train your body properly for people who are interested in going for this? to prepare for the physical rigors of running 52 marathons in 52 weeks? How, in general summary?
Yeah, and of course, in the article that I wrote for you for how to, I explained what we're right here, and you know, so you of course, that's exactly the words. You have to train your body. So for weeks and weeks and weeks before I started, I ran at least one 20-mile run every single weekend, and plus daily regular training mileage. I followed Benji Durden's 26-week marathon training program, which is one of the hardest out there. It's demanding, running hills and track repeats. I was lifting weights and anything I could do to accomplish what I had planned to set out to do. And plus, it was the mental aspect, as I said, being a disciple of positive possibility power thinking. Boy, those two, you know, solidified together and helped me get through the entire year.
If you could look back and come up with the 3 most important keys to help you like actually accomplish that, because many people say they want to do something but they don't follow through and do it, but you are actually one of the few individuals who did that, but not only did that but did something incredible. Like, looking back, anybody in any field can learn from you. Like, what are the 3 or plus lessons that you can tell somebody else to accomplish a big dream?
Well, you know, and that's beautiful, because of course it does tie into my philosophy of the 3 pillars, which are mental, physical, and spiritual. And, you know, of course, we can start with the physical aspect. As we just talked about, you have to solidify your physical pillar so that you can be fit and ready to go out and run 26.2 or 42.2 kilometers per week for 52 straight weeks. And then the mental part, which we kind of already touched on too, you have to be strong mentally, you have to be self-confident. And of course, we all go through periods of downtime, you know, where we get you know, lack of confidence. We get people criticizing us, in which I had plenty of that. But you have to be strong enough to swing back up to the peak and say, I am going to do this. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do it. So you solidify that mental and that physical pillar. And of course, spiritually, you don't have to be a spiritual person to do this, but there are universal truths that will never change. That if you can't, it kind of hooks in with my positive possibility power thinking, that if you can solidify that and it gives you a strong personal base, you have those 3 solid pillars, those are your lessons. And what you take away from it once you finish running your 52 marathons in a year is you have created a rock solid personal foundation for the rest of your life that carries over into everything you do. And like you said earlier, it's true. I stand on a podium of integrity in that I have done this and that I understand it. And that's why I love writing these things and talking about them, hoping to inspire and other people to. It doesn't have to be running. It could be any of your greatest dreams. You know, go for it.
Absolutely. I love the 3 pillars, the way you described it. So I want to kind of get into it a little bit, how it relates to the 52 marathons. Like, let's first talk about the physical aspect. You say you need to be conditioned. And for people who are interested in doing what you did, or maybe running even just one marathon, physically, what would you advise them is, generally speaking, what do they need to do? Like, what do they need to, from someone who's actually done it, it's like, what would you say to do physically?
Well, here's the real key, is, you know, especially if you have a competitive spirit like I do, and I think most people do in some way, shape, or form, is you get all gung-ho and psyched up, and I'm going to go do this. And, you know, and I do coach runners and marathon runners on a regular basis, and I see it all the time. They get gung-ho. They've only been running for 3 months. I'm going to do a marathon, and they will do it. But I'll tell you what, they're way more likely to be injured, not have a good time, exhausted, and they will come across that finish line, and then they go back to their sedentary lifestyle. So the real key is building that rock solid personal foundation, in this case, physically at least, in doing it slowly but surely. I ran on a regular basis of 25 to 35 miles a week for 2.5 years before I even considered doing a marathon. And once you take that step up to 40, 50, 60 miles per week in training, it's not that big of a jump. So again, so many people are overly aggressive and they will accomplish it, but they hurt themselves and then they hate it.
I see. So you're saying you were already running 20, 30 miles a week for 2 years consistently and naturally progressed to that point, okay, to accomplish what you did. Okay, exactly. physically speaking. Now let's talk about the second pillar. You said it was mental?
Yes.
How do you improve this in terms of accomplishing 52 marathons in 52 weeks mentally? Because we have negative things in our mind, all the time, sometimes limiting beliefs. How do you fix your mentality?
Yeah, well, great question. I will tell you, number one, just simply the act of running increases your self-worth and your self-confidence. When, let's say you're a man or a woman right now who's 50 pounds overweight and you're sick of being that way. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that you may personally be sick of it and you want to be in better physical shape. But, a lot of times that's accompanied by a poor self-worth, a poor self-image. And when you get out there, and even when you accomplish your very first 5K race, your self-worth, your self-image goes up, and because you say, wow, I really did that. I really did it. So that is a great way. Just the act of running increases your mental, solidifies your mental pillar. And then as we talked about earlier, if you can get into the mainstream of understanding that, as opposed to the world looks at negativity as the normal, real world, and that doesn't have to be that way. If you can understand that living a positive life filled with possibility and power, personal power, that can and is your personal reality. I know it is for me. So those two things in combination will really, really, really get you going forward.
Awesome. So now let's go to a third pillar, spiritual aspect. How can a runner, how could you give them advice in that field? Not everyone may be spiritual and whatnot, but as you mentioned, there's universal truths. What's your advice for them in terms of accomplishing what you did?
Right. And again, I want to emphasize right away, because people confuse this. This is nothing about religion. Okay. This is about spirituality, our connectedness to one another and everything. There are universal truths, and whether you agree with me or not on this, I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of books and YouTube videos that will verify this scientific research. I'm reading an incredible book right now, The Grand Illusion, a synthesis of science and spirituality by Brendan Murphy, that is just phenomenal. That if you can hook into this and understand this, connecting to your true self, and I like to call it your inner champion, your divine self that you were created as, in combination with a beautiful, strong mental and physical pillar, man, there's nothing holding you back. There is nothing you can't do, like running 52 marathons in 52 weeks.
Wow. For those of you guys, if you're interested in ultra marathon running, or you want to go for this, only 9 people in this world unofficially accomplished that, and you want to do this, you can go to karlgruberlifecoach.com/services. You can talk to this man. You can learn from him through his coaching, not just about life coaching. That's what he does too. But those of you who are interested in marathon, you can actually learn from him, okay? Karl Gruber, I have one question personally myself. This is, one second, guys. For those of, for someone like me, I've actually never ran a marathon. But now you make me want to run a marathon.
You
make me feel like I'm not human now. Like I need to, right? Like what's your advice for the complete newbie who's never ran a marathon? Maybe I want to run one marathon. Like what would your advice be? I work out, I go to the gym three times a week, but I don't run like a lot. It's nothing compared to, you know, your level. Like it's only like 10 minutes. It's not that much. Like what would be your advice for regular people?
Well, you know, I mean, just for you, advice, just you alone. I mean, I can see you're physically fit and you go to the gym, but doing cardio is pretty different than strength training. They're both beautiful. But again, even for somebody physically fit like you, it's got to be a slow build-up over a period of time. So get on the treadmill and start slowly building up. Do like 20, 30 minutes. And you don't have to go run a 5-minute mile on the treadmill. Do an 11-minute mile. You know, walk when you're tired. But a really great way to get into building up your running is join a local running group in your town, or charity marathon training group. They're throughout the United States. You know, here in Columbus, Ohio, we have at least 5 different, maybe even more, maybe 10 training groups. And it's the beautiful part about that is when you hook up with a running community and a running group, there's fantastic camaraderie. You make new friends that became friends for life. And when you know that somebody's waiting for you, say at the local park, they're waiting for you, you know, you're not so hesitant to get out of bed in the morning at 6:30 and go meet someone. Oh man, they're waiting. You get out there and you almost always have a better time. You run better. So the motivation, the inspiration is real. I suggest hooking up with a local training group in some way, shape, or form. That will be a big plus for you.
Great advice on finding other people just like yourself. And how do they do that? Is it through meetup.com, or what website should people go in the United States, for example?
Well, there's so many resources for it. I mean, even if you go to your local Starbucks, you can find bulletin boards, you know, like my running club that I coach here in Ohio. I mean, I posted a flyer and I have people that just joined up from there. I have a Facebook website for my group. Social media, yeah, you probably meetup.com, but look at the Runner's World magazine, local running newspapers. Like we have Run Ohio here in Ohio. It's a newspaper, and all kinds of hookups. Just look around. It's probably there, and you just never noticed it before.
Awesome. So thank you for being on this interview, Karl. I appreciate you for being on this interview. Thank you very much. And yeah, fascinating story. And for those of you who are interested in him and his services, go to karlgruberlifecoach.com. And those of you who are interested in his specific guide on how to do 52 marathons in 52 weeks by someone who's actually done it, go check out the book on amazon.com, 52 marathons in 52 weeks. There'll be links below the video. Click on the links below the video and go check it out. Karl, again, thank you for being on this interview.
Hey, that was my pleasure. Thank you so much, BJ.
I appreciate it. Take care.